D word.
Perfect.
Word.
Perfect. Coming to you live from the basement of an abandoned training facility where we talk about fighting, training, and events. It's the Fight Mixer Show, where you can hear about all the local and world combat sports happenings. Get ready. It's time to gear up and square up because we're going live on the Fight Mixer Show.
Welcome back to the fucking Fight Mixer, baby. Mr. Matt with Mr. James. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. I'm actually I'm potting from the gym today, so I need to keep it as G-rated as possible. Appreciate you starting off for right off the bat there, Dave.
Fuck yeah. I'm in a habit of like cursing and getting all crazy, so
I know I got the mouth of a sailor.
It happens.
And not in that way, Gabe.
And as I do too, but when it comes to the gym, I have to have a different procedure. I apologize. I should have established that from the beginning, but yeah.
It's okay, brother. So this episode about domestic violence is brought to you by ojsimpson.com//.com.
Ouch. It's very possible. I would like to start the show saying a rest in peace to Brian Gassaway, who just passed away. He took his own life, mental health problems, and I think not enough people are talking about mental health, not just in fighting, but just in general. Very, very unfortunate. So I just wanted to say a rest in peace to him and condolences to his family.
Absolutely, and rest in peace to Brian Gassaway. And mental health is huge, especially during the pandemic. I mean, I see a therapist once a week, just to make sure everything's in check. And I can't stress it enough. If you have any mental health issues, there's people around you that love you, and people that care about you. So definitely a great topic to talk about to kick things off. But on to other news. And I want to hear your opinion about this. So many fighters. Jon Jones, Chuck Liddell, and let's start with Jon Jones also. He's in the news again, getting arrested for, it started like War Machine. War Machine, he's a prick and, a bad person, and, he got arrested. But, and then Jon Jones, back in the news, like crazy stuff happened. Like, what happened, Mr. Gabe?
I mean, is it a surprise? Jon, bless his heart, is always making really, really good decisions. I don't know. I think Jon should be an NFL football player for as much nonsense he likes to get himself involved in. He's in Vegas with his wife, goes out to a gentleman's club for the evening, and wives love that. I know my wife is always telling me to go do that, and has zero issue with it. Big surprise, and then he's drinking, and we all know that you make good decisions when you're inebriated. And then I think honestly the worst of it all is that his daughter was the one that said the police need to be called. Like, when your child is saying like daddy is hurting mommy, there's a massive issue.
Right. And like I met Jon Jones. He seems like such a nice guy, and like he's been with his fiance forever, and they still haven't gotten married and all that stuff. Like,
Did you meet sober Jon Jones or drunk Jon Jones?
No, Jon Jones was that. I met Jon Jones when he was completely sober. Like, it was like a UFC event, and I sat down with DJ Penn for a while, and I shot the breeze with him for like a good 40, 50 minutes talking about like his fights with Carlo Uno and just like nerding out. Like, and then Forrest Griffin I talked to like for a good hour, and then Forrest Griffin before he got on the plane, I'm like, Forrest, have a great flight. He's like, don't tell me what to do, and Forrest is hilarious. But then I talked to Jon Jones. I talked to him for like a good 20, 25 minutes because he used to train with Team Bomb Squad up in New York and wrestle in New York. And I wrestle in New Jersey, so we're kind of bonding about wrestling. Completely normal, completely like. But what I noticed too, and I brought this up in past episodes, where Jon Jones, like his people around him are, I don't know, I think everybody should have people in their life to call them out on their stuff, especially if they're screwing up. I think it's a problem of Jon Jones not having enough people in his life who say you're screwing up, and this is why it repeatedly happens. I don't know what you think, Mr. Dick.
Well, I mean, so you brought up BJ Penn, and BJ's biggest issue with his career was being surrounded by yes men. People that would say, like, oh, you're doing fine. No, you don't need to train. You're that good. Oh, partying's fine. Like, go out and do this, and let's go have fun, and doing the things that aren't necessary for success. When you're a massive star like Jon Jones, it's even more of a you have a responsibility to at the very minimum pretend to be a decent person, I think again it comes down to probably having yes men and ego. I'm sure Jon feels that he's the best in the world, which I mean he is. I think that feeling like you're the best in the world means that you're above everything. You can do whatever you want, which is unfortunate.
You think Alexander versus Chris Taylor? I'd love to see that fight happen. What do you guys think? Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. I mean, I haven't really thought about it. What do you think, Gabe?
Gabe's like, I don't know.
I don't know who's Chris Sorrow.
They're bare knuckle guys.
I know who Houston Alexander is, but I don't know who Chris Sorrow is. And I don't know what that has to do with Jon Jones. But I mean, yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a fun fight. Is Chris Sorrow good?
He's pretty good. Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah. And so is I'm
saying that bare knuckle has grown on me. It's
really.
Yeah, I mean it's entertaining. You know what I mean? I still feel that I kind of like the no rules, no glove MMA. That's kind of more my like. Yeah, I'm really that really interests me. But bare knuckles is fun. And yes, Tony, Jon Jones is an idiot.
What about and like my main priority is the fighters. Like I'm so pro advocate for the fighters, and did you hear the announcement that somebody from BKFC, like a member, actually died like after a knockout?
Yeah, I did hear about that, and
it was really unfortunate. He basically fell on his face.
But look, people die from hitting their head on the ground. Life is very, very
fickle.
Fragile. There's fragility in life, and as sad as it is, it's just kind of is. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate.
No, Ryan, you're all good. We enjoy it.
You're all good, brother. And the big argument was not necessarily a safety issue, but matchmaking, where a guy was completely overmatched and actually beat him once before they fought again in BKFC. So I've heard the argument. And again, it's sad and it's tragic, and like I don't want any fighter to have an injury, let alone like pass away in the ring. And this has happened in boxing. I mean, John McCain called MMA a human cockfighting, yet he was in a match, or actually was in attendance for a boxing fight where a boxer actually died in 1996-97.
I think in boxing every year there's 5 or 6 fatalities in boxing every year.
Yeah.
I mean, look. There's, like I said, life is fragile, and there are people that they slip and fall, and actually I remember when I was doing kung fu as a kid, my kung fu instructor brought this newspaper article, and he pulls it out in front of me and goes, look, and it says 1 punch, 1 kill, and he goes, this guy must have used kung fu, and you read the article, it was two drunk guys that got in a fight. One guy hit the other one. The other guy fell onto a parking block.
Yep.
And died. It was nothing to do with kung fu. It had to do with two drunk idiots slobber knocking outside of a bar.
Right.
You know, and that's the fragility of life. You know, it's unfortunate.
People die in racing. People die in racing. So I mean, if you're
Matt, and what I recall, and like I saw the fight, and it wasn't necessarily the punch that killed him. It was how he landed.
Yeah, it looked like he pretty much landed on his face. So
Oh.
it was just an unfortunate fall.
Really unfortunate. But I mean,
and that happens in every combat sport that's out there.
Well, but it's certain combat sports. There are many people that pass away in other sports. Equestrian, there's people that die at equestrian. They fall off horses and they die. You know what I mean? Or the horse falls on them and kills them. So I mean, like if you can die from equestrian, there's not a surprise that bare knuckle boxing is going to have a fatality.
And yes, Scott, he did die from pneumonia, but it was complications. I think spinal cord complications from the fall.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Okay, it's 100% how he landed. Yeah, I don't know enough about it. I know that he passed, and that was unfortunate. You know, there's so many variables that will come into it. But my personal takeaway is that life is fragile, and you can die from drinking too much water.
Yeah,
not drowning, but you know what I mean.
I have a theory, and I don't mean to sound like the Dave Chappelle episode where like he's like a witness, and then they're like, "Oh, R. Kelly did it. Oh, I need to see some tape. I didn't see it. Maybe it was CGI." Like, and defending the fighter, but like maybe head injury, maybe brain trauma is the reason behind all these fighters' behavior, like Jon Jones and Violent Bob Ross and War Machine. Like I want to see and hear me out here, but like I want them to examine O.J. Simpson's brain. Like Chris Benoit killed his entire family from pro wrestling. And like they studied his brain. He had a brain of an 80-year-old Alzheimer's patient. Like, do you think like behavior or that type of erratic behavior is based off of like maybe too many headshots, or what do you say?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm obviously I'm not a doctor that deals with trauma, and I don't have enough information behind me. I definitely know that head trauma, no matter what, is bad, and there's going to be repercussions from doing that. My personal feeling is the reason why Jon Jones is doing this has nothing to do with head trauma. It's because he's a scumbag. The guy violent.
And he's completely intoxicated.
Well, but
every time.
Well, so he has this sense of invincibility because he's the champ and he's so important. And I mean, look, I understand that. Like when everyone treats you differently because of who you are, you feel like you can get away with whatever you want. Yeah. And you know, the narcissistic idea of I can do what I want and the repercussions don't pertain to me because I am who I am. And that's what I think with Jon Jones. The guy, Violent Bob Ross, I don't know what the guy's real name is. He's been involved in two separate incidents with assaulting and that's not CTE. That's him being a scumbag. That's him not like, especially as a pro fighter. I mean, come on, man. Like you can't let's go into Chuck Liddell. And Chuck Liddell said that his wife hit him. And the police came. They said someone's going, and so Chuck goes, "Take me." You know what I mean? Like, you know, so you know that's the scenario where like let's be honest. If Chuck hit his wife, like even though Chuck has CTE and is all messed up, he's going to really really hurt her. But yeah. Here's a man with CTE who was able to keep it together long enough to recognize that his wife was the one that was being the abuser and, you know, took it upon himself. Like Luis Pena, someone put that up. Luis Pena and Jon Jones, they're just scumbags. And like the unfortunate part is there's always going to be scumbags in all walks of life, but these scumbags happen to be in MMA. And the problem is there's been such an upward battle to get MMA into the mainstream. And then have people like this involved, it's really, really unfortunate. You know, it's really unfortunate. But the other part is what is the UFC doing? They're letting Jon Jones skate away. Like he hit a pregnant woman in like with a DUI. Like these are
DUI and ran from the car.
I understand. Like you want to keep your champion on because if he goes to another organization, then you've lost your poster boy. But or like Conor McGregor, he's going around same exact same mentality as Jon Jones. I'm above this. I can do what I want. You know how much money I have? You know how famous I am? I can punch anybody I want. It doesn't matter because I'm Conor McGregor. I'm famous.
That's the Conor McGregor stuff is embarrassing. Like when I saw photos of the VMAs and him confronting Machine Gun Kelly. Bro, you can murder Machine Gun Kelly with your pinky. And like and hitting a DJ, like what is going on? Like you are making, as a poster child for the sport, you're making everybody look bad. Everybody in the sport. Everybody is guilty by association. It's guilt by association. What are you doing? What is his problem?
Well, but I mean, so it comes down, and someone said don't hold on to a poster boy, but the unfortunate part is money.
Yeah,
to more than proper
humanity.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had my way, Kazushi Sakuraba would still be the poster boy of MMA. But again, different strokes for different folks. And we all look at the Conor McGregor, and
we had a GSP. I mean, exceptional. Like really, like there are certain people that are like real. And listen, GSP party. I was GSP multiple times, but also kept it under control and understood that you don't act like an idiot. You don't put forth anything. You can have fun and enjoy yourself and still do things, but you also need to have enough understanding that you're not above.
Right. The perfect poster child, though, and people will argue with me about this. Anderson Silva, the Spider era was awesome.
I was thinking the same thing.
Awesome. He was the perfect poster child. Respectful. I mean, like, weigh-ins, he would confront like Vitor Belfort and everything like that. But like,
stuff. I mean, listen. Here's the thing: is I mean, is it? I think there's a part of showmanship to it, but he's respectful outside the ring. And how many times do you hear about Conor McGregor? Or I'm sorry, you heard about that a lot. How many times do you hear about Anderson getting in a bar fight? How many times have you heard of Anderson punching someone for taking a picture of him? Like, how many times have you ever heard of Anderson telling a fan that wants a picture to F off? That never happens, right? Like, but there are multiple champions in MMA that 100% are like, that. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I mean, like, and the thing is, like, mixed martial arts. Like, you're supposed to be a martial artist, right? You're not supposed to be some dumb jock you're not a pro wrestler. You're not an NBA, NFL, all these other things. We hear all this negative stuff. Martial artists, as a martial artist, you're supposed to be held to a standard that when you have children, that they look at you as to aspire to be like you. And I'll tell you, like I don't want my child, like, here's a perfect example. It's like, everyone's like, what do you want your daughter to fight? Like Ronda Rousey. I'm like, I think it was amazing that Ronda was doing the things she was doing, but the way she would act, I don't want my daughter to act that way. I don't want her to be a bully and get in people's faces and tell people to F off. And like, I want my daughter to be able to protect herself, and I want my daughter to be a strong woman, but I don't want her to be an idiot. Like I look at, like, again, like, as a father, and again, it's not like every martial art should be looking to aspire children, but the thing is, in a lot of ways, you're kind of supposed to, And like, look, I'm in no means a saint that has never done anything wrong, but in my
stories recorded.
There's enough interviews out there of stupidity of my youth, but it's just that it's my youth, and the reality is, I was never a massive star. Like, I think that you have even more of a responsibility when all eyes are on you.
I highly disagree with that. You were on a national television program, and you were a 4-time world champion. So, yeah, I think you were I think you were a star, to be honest with you.
I recognize where I was at, and I was never a Conor McGregor or a Jon Jones. Like, those guys are superstars, like, really genuine. And as such, because of how much they're going to be looked at under a microscope, right? Shouldn't they be the best they can be? But I mean, I know Connor's got his shtick and he wants to keep to his shtick, but my personal feeling is if you're a mixed martial artist, act like a martial artist.
I love the MMA media too when they're like, "Oh, Chuck Liddell's involved," and I met also Chuck Liddell too, and Chuck Liddell is the coolest guy ever. Like, even though he's slower in his older years, I mean, because he's been through war after war, but like everybody jumped on the bandwagon. Oh, Chuck Liddell beat up his wife, and then Chuck Liddell's like, "Nah, actually, it was the opposite," and the police actually confirmed that the wife beat him up. And he was just trying to protect himself. And, like, I loved how, the MMA media tried jumping on that Chuck. Chuck Liddell would never be capable of.
Well, but I mean, that goes to show something. Like, here's a superstar. Chuck Liddell is on the same level as a Jon Jones. I mean, I think Conor financially is obviously much better off than Chuck. But as far as, like, known, I mean, Chuck was on Dance with the Stars.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, so like Chuck he's been in a lot of movies. He's was the first, in my opinion, the first real superstar of MMA. And look at how he handles himself. And Chuck parties like a champion. Like, I'll tell you, like, Chuck parties. He's. But again, do you hear him punching people? Do you hear him getting in DUI accidents with pregnant women? Like you hear even in this story where you hear that there's a domestic issue, you find out that it's his wife.
Right.
I mean, that's what I would hope. I would hope is that if there's issues, especially with home, and let's be honest, like there's going to be issues at home, but like I would hope that as a mixed martial artist, the very last thing you ever do is put your hands on your significant other. Never. Like. Never. My wife is 110 pounds. She's 5 feet tall. Like, if she were to punch me with everything she had over and over again, I would just sit there and be like, "Can you please just stop?" Like, I'm like, really? Like, yeah. Ow. Is there 5?
I don't know. Like, and like speaking from personal experience, and you guys all were in on the fabled kill. I mean, I was in a situation where she was looking at the knife, and I'm not going to get into further details because, I obviously got arrested in the long run, and I showed you guys her mugshot, so like that was funny. But like, we've all been in situations where, and I don't blame Chuck Liddell because like I probably would not be here today if I didn't restrain or I was in a situation where I didn't have to restrain and like actually get a handle on the situation, so I didn't get fucking killed. And like maybe it was the same thing with Chuck Liddell. I mean, there's two sides of the story. I think Jon Jones and I think Violent Bob Ross was definitely like
the Jon Jones one. He was in front of his children. Like, yo, my man. Like, it's bad enough. It's bad enough that you're dealing with it all, but you're doing it in front of your children. You're a scumbag. I'm so like, you're like, I don't think John will ever be on the show, but if he ever gets on the show, I straight will tell him, "Look, my man, you're a scumbag."
So he asked me to elaborate. Yeah. So once upon a time, I had a lady at my house and got punched in the face a lot, and I have texts of her apologizing for punching me in the face. And then last day, where I'm finally trying to get her out of the house, she attacks me again, restrain her arms. She's looking at the knife, and like I see her glance at it, like which is right by my kitchen. So I restrain. I'm like, "Are you done? Are you done? Are you done?" Let go, like, and then I call the police. She calls the police. Police come, and like obviously nothing. I didn't do anything wrong, and had to go through all these different circumstances, and like all like finally got her arrested, and like mugshot and all like craziness happened. But like that was a scary situation. I had PTSD just talking about it.
But even in that, like you kept your cool, right? In a scenario which was like you I think you would have been justified in protecting yourself, but you kept your cool, and you're not a 205 pound or I think Joe's like 240 right now. Like,
hey, he was a lot.
Come on, like no. It's like. What are you gonna do? But the thing is, the UFC's not gonna cut him. Have they even cut Violent Bob Ross? Guys, did they cut him?
I hope so. Anybody that hits a woman is a piece of F in my book. Anybody that abuses a woman, anybody that hits a woman like that Brian scumbag who choked Gabby, his girlfriend. Did you hear about that? Like
No.
So
they just found his body. Yeah,
they just found his body, and like crocodiles are like my newfound hero because they ate a lot.
I'm not going to say who it is, but there is a famous female MMA fighter that like is a strong, tough that got busted for domestic violence. She beat up her boyfriend bad. I mean, and she's a big, strong girl too. I'm not going to say who it is, but like
usually it's the male in the. It's usually the male in the equation that gets in trouble whenever like police like.
Yeah, it's the default.
She went to jail. Like she 100. Like it was not. I mean, she's a big girl and former MMA fighter and former pro boxer, and she put a beating on him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm surprised the guy didn't get like arrested. Like.
I mean, from her, she beat him up pretty good.
Oh, fair enough.
He wasn't one of the things that, like, I mean, she's female, but he's bleeding out of a lot of places.
Unbelievable. And I think it all goes down to mental health too, because Chuck said that it was a mental health concern. Like she was mentally out of place. Like maybe, and going back to my story, like the gal who tried killing me was actually like. She had some problems.
Well, it comes down to it absolutely comes down to mental health. If you don't have the capacity to want, like, so if you're that angry about something, if you don't have the mental capacity to just leave, you know what I mean? If you're that angry about something and your first reaction is to hit and to hurt something that you love or something like that the mother of your children, there's you know, and it may be, but my personal feeling is that it's something else. You're just a scumbag.
Yeah, they should fire Jon Jones. Anybody that hits a woman is a piece of S, and you know, it's rotten hell.
Yeah,
money. Of course.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Well, what can you do? You know.
I don't know.
Welcome to mixed martial arts.
I believe it's actually Domestic Violence Month too. So.
Didn't Jenna Jadenson beat up Tito Ortiz? Your favorite all-time fighter?
I still feel that my favorite MMA beef was Chael and Tito. When Chael said the only one making money with their mouth is your wife.
Oh.
Yeah, right. That one, like, like even Chael goes, that was a good one. That like it was like that was so like just I really like I bowed down. That was so well done.
And Tito had no response because Tito was horrible on the mic. So Tito's like, "Have you get the family out of this, partner?" Like he had nothing. And Chael's like, you don't think that's funny? I thought that was funny. Like, and everyone in the crowd like,
I guarantee later Tito was like, "Oh, I hate him, but that was good.
That was pretty good.
That was so like, I'm so mad because of how good it was."
100%.
All right, so we're heading towards the 30-minute mark, our expiration date. So this brief show, was brought to you by Kajuja MMA and Fitness. Matt, what's going on? Come on, flash that.
I'm trying to find it.
Flash it, bro.
There you go.
There you go. If you want to train with 4-time world champion and everyone's favorite friend Gabe Rudiger, go to kajuja/MMA.com and sign up. Your first trial class is going to be full free. Tell them that the Fight Mixer sent you, or give them a call at 818-231-1119. And I want you to give Gabe a call and say, Dave Potter sent you. So I want your excuse for murdering me.
I'm not going to deny what Dave said. Everything he said was very factual. So.
We're also brought to you by Dranger Nutrition. If you guys like Mr. Gabe, go to drangernutrition.com and sign up and get some protein.
Actually, I need to buy some more because mine is almost empty. This is
I need some more
Zerk.
I'm sure we can get them to send you another.
Gosh, if they could send me another one, that would be amazing.
Yep. And it's also brought to you by Dope Champ. If you want some CBD goodies, go to dopechamp.com.
Ooh, love it.
Ooh. So, from bros in different area codes with swollen lymph nodes and tiny. So, Gabe, any final thoughts or final words from the 4-time world champ?
I just hope we can stay more consistent on the show, hint, hint, and keep it going. I think it's always good to have topics that we talk about and get some new guests. And I'm just glad to be back.
Yeah, the UFC guys are getting tough to reel in.
I think I would make some phone calls, make some stuff happen.
Look in your little black book.
Stay away from the black book.
All right, sounds good.
Matt, any final words?
Unbelievable.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with Fight Mixer. Tune in every week. We have some more exciting and fun topics. Join us on Amazon, Roku, Apple TV, or illegal streaming devices. Thank you very much for joining us for the Fight Mixer. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Perfect.